Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all my beautiful solar flares and solar flare-ettes. Let's get back started on Cafe Enchanté.
幻想喫茶アンシャンテ
Chapter 3, here we come. So a few months have passed since I moved here. All of those documents, all the certifications needed. Dealing with upgrading all of that equipment. The aroma of coffee floated in the air of the cafe, signaling the arrival of a new owner. The interminable training I went through just to be able to pour a cup of coffee. Yeah, Mr. Demon King was over there floating coffee plates and cups and coffee all up in the air. I'm like, I want to learn how to do that too. Give me the power. The arcana. Mortal Kombat was trash, y'all. Just so you know, I was so excited about it the last recording, but I've seen it like right at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I stayed up. Well, I didn't get to watch it until 3 o'clock because I was watching Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I didn't even know there was a freaking second Mortal Kombat, y'all. So yeah, I got my hopes up and it was crushed. It was like a decent movie, I'll give it that, but this situation, not knowing left from right, here with such an eccentric bunch of guests. After overcoming so many challenges. Finally! It's open! It's finally the day! Cafe Enchanté is back in business. Where the people at? Right. ... Huh? Why aren't you all excited? I changed into a new uniform and made so many preparations too.
いや、そう言われても、そりゃめでてえはめでてえな。正式オープンつってもよ。
Party pooper.
何度も繰り返しているように、ここは人払いを施しているので。だからなんというか。俺たちからすれば環境的に変わったことはないんだよね。
Of course not. Y'all like a rock in a stream.
一緒に喜んであげたいけど、僕もいい年だから、どうしてもそんな考えになっちゃってね。
And you just an old guy. Go to sleep. Yet a young girl shine. Really? I know I was looking forward to it, but I imagined everyone would be excited when the day came. This was shocking. I decided to tuck away the party poop. Yeah, I said party pooper right at Ignis too. I decided to tuck away the party popper, not pooper. Well, same thing. Party popper I was keeping in my pocket before anyone happened to notice it. I would have popped that thing out anyway. Now I went over to Ignis like, right in his ear. Someone did happen to voice some support for me though after my horrible flop.
ともあれ、イグニスも言っていたが、めでたいことに変わりはない。
Yay, look at Ignis, he's happy. I love his color changes.
ここは何かしら祝い事をすべきではないか。
それじゃあ、オーソドックスにパーティーでもするかい？
インド、それはあなたが不在の間に近しいことをすでに行っています。
え？そうなんだ。初耳で地味にショック。
So ka. Well, you know, that party, it was right before the GPM attacked. The strangest tea party. That really was something, wasn't it?
パーティーでもいいけど、変わり映えしない内容はね。まあ、会場の雰囲気ぐらいならいくらでも変えられるけどさ。今度はどのような装いにしましょう。溶岩地帯や断崖絶壁あたりがマスターにとっては新鮮でしょうか。
Number 2, those aren't so much refreshing to me as they are places I've never liked to come near, okay?
つがなんでそんな極端な場所をチョイスすんだてめえは。
僕がディナーにエスコートは。
Oh, old man trying to take me out again. Nah, she's like, no, I'm good. You don't need to. I'm not suggesting that everyone has to celebrate with me. I just thought that it would be a little sad to open the cafe and not acknowledge it. It might be true that to everyone else, their normal lives had simply returned to them. But to me, this was a brand new start. It was my first big step toward my new life, so at least it would make me happy if we could all have a proper tea party to celebrate. My eyes scanned their faces, watching for their thoughts to reappear.
あなたは少々ささやかすぎる嫌いがあるな。
Huh?
カヌスの言う通りかもね。おじさんたちの都合なんて気にしないで、もっと君自身の主張を
Oh,
ぶつ
just
けて
let them know what you want.
今日は大事な日なんだ。祝え常連どもってね。
Canis and Mr. Collarwood look at each other.
でもまあそうだよね。俺たちが祝わなくて誰が祝うんだって話だし。お茶会やろうか。今度は正真正銘アンシャンテの再会を祝してさ。
With Mr. Demon King's smile, everyone else begins to comment supportively about the tea party.
俺は別に元から反対してたわけじゃねえし、お前がやりてえならいいんじゃねえの。
私も皆の意見に賛成です。これまでの経緯を考えるに彼女を祝うのは自然な流れかと。
Thank you. All right. I'll get everything ready. What sort of food does everyone want?
はいストップ。なんとなくそう来るとは思ったけどさ。今回は俺たちが準備するからさ。君はゆっくり休んでなよ。開店の一番の功労者なんだし。
そうそう。それに君は普段からここのメンツの食事やら何やら面倒を見てるんだからさ。
ここは我々に日頃の恩を返させてはくれないか。
Really? Everyone actually wants to help me. I don't feel like I've done enough for them to owe me any kind of debt. But it really does bring joy to my heart that they would be so thoughtful. I'll take you up on your offer. Thank you very much. After mentioning to come ask me if there was anything they didn't know, I took their advice and went to relax quietly in my room. Dot dot dot. Dot dot dot. I can't relax! Same here. You want to relax so hard, but you just mind racing. So thinking back, whenever I had any free time, I was either cooking or studying to prep for reopening the business. Now that I didn't need to do that, I was totally bored. How is it that I have more free time now that we've officially reopened? I couldn't help but question the issue. Dot dot dot. Arrgh. They wouldn't mind if I were to come down just to see how things are going, right? In the end, the fact that I was bored still remained. I decided the best thing was to go to see how they were all doing. I was also just curious to see what kind of work they were all getting done. Okay, now that I've decided, who should I go supervise? My main man, Canis! As for Canis, he mentioned he was in charge of making the meals today. He did make a note of being clumsy before, but I wonder how he is at cooking. Hello! I enter the kitchen slowly so that I don't startle him. There in this kitchen, which had become my training ground lately. I saw Connus carefully trying to use a knife, which was wobbling unsteadily in his hands. I'm sure Ignis, who I couldn't see, was out in the storehouse trying to find more ingredients. Noticing my arrival, he turns toward me after carefully putting down the knife.
あなたか我に何か用か
No, nothing in particular. I was just wondering how the cooking was going. I looked at the ingredients that he had laid out onto the cutting board. A fresh tomato, a large cut of bacon, and eggs cut into... Oh, bacon, egg with tomato. He should have made a BLT. Now I'm craving a BLT, y'all. If y'all ever in St. Louis, make sure to come to Crown Candy off St. Louis Avenue for that heart-stopping BLT. Like, I want one of those right now. Some bread was off to the side with the crust cut off of it. Ah, so he happened to be making... Connus, you're making sandwiches?
これなら我でも作れるだろうとイグニスから少々形がいびつなのは見逃してほしい
They're on the larger side, but that makes them appealing in their own way. But actually, this isn't good. Just looking at this makes me want to... Hey, Connus, is it okay if I help you out with this too? I couldn't help but want to make something after seeing all of this here. I mean, I just enjoy cooking. Me too.
しかしそれは
Connus attempted to refuse my help at first, but...
あなたが望むことを否定しては祝いの意味がないなでは小さな野菜の切り分けを頼んでもいいだろうか
Sure thing. I'll wash my hands first. Yeah, wash them hands. 20 seconds. Warm to hot water. Connus and I make quick work of the vegetables as we stand together. There were no major mistakes, and even though he said he was clumsy, I felt that Connus was actually fairly talented at cooking. As I was watching this new side of him in admiration. Ah! Says Connus. It looked as if Connus picked up some of the scraps from the vegetables we had cut. Oh, and somehow made them disappear into his face. You were eating it? I felt like I was experiencing deja vu. He's seen that cat. Ah, he likes the food.
すまないバレてしまったか無駄にしてはいけないと思ってつい
Oh, Connus blushing. He must have been embarrassed after I caught him taking bites while he was cooking. The flame coming from his neck was red. But what I was more curious about was... I wondered what happens to the food. It was even more fascinating this time since he didn't have a helmet on like before. Will he eat something else? Hoping he would, I continued to stare at him.
あなたも何か食べるか
Huh? He misinterpreted my staring. Before I could mention he was mistaken, he hands me a piece of the bacon that, ooh, love me some bacon fat. So he hands me a piece of the bacon that he had cut. Does he expect me to eat it just like this? I mean, my hands are full. Oh, okay, maybe just a bite then. Thinking about it would just make the whole thing even more embarrassing, so I decided that I'd just open my mouth. The very moment I had bacon in my mouth. Or maybe something else. Here comes Ignis, a hungry face. We could hear Ignis's exasperated voice as he side-eyed us walking through the kitchen. Connus and I quickly separated ourselves. We went back to work in a fluster. Ignis, who said he'd prepare his favorites, the meats, focused intensely on the fry pan in his hand. Kanas and I entered the final step of putting the ingredients into the bread and cutting the sandwiches. As sandwich after sandwich was completed, Kanas suddenly begins to speak.
少し良いだろうか。
What is it?
アンシャンテの再オープンについて。みんな、きっと本心では、アンシャンテが続くことをとても喜んでいるはずだ。
Me too, Kanas.
その望みを叶えてくれた礼を、こたびの茶会で少しでも新たに返せれば。
I could feel a boundless sincerity within each and every word he spoke. I'd also like to thank all of you. I was only able to take on this amazing cafe because of meeting everyone here. I met his sincerity with complete honesty, leaving no room for doubt about my feelings. A few hours later, the preparations for the tea party went along smoothly thanks to everyone's efforts.
あとは会場のセッティングっと。
Mr. Demon King snaps his fingers as number 2 puts his hands together as if he were praying. I should close my eyes. Wow! The inside of the cafe turned back into the same whimsical setting as the last party.
なんだ、結局はこれかよ。
He said uninspired. Ignis is like, why don't we have hell on earth, hell in the cafe? And I second that motion. I love fiery temperatures.
失礼だな。こんなに綺麗な空間、邪悪な魔王様的には力作なんだよ。
我には好ましい景色だ。アンシャンテの再会。その始まりは前回の茶会の時だったのだからな。
I also really like this place. Back then, when they all showed me how deep their bonds were with Grandpa, it still didn't really feel like the months had already passed. I meant what I said. I enjoyed this place and how much peace it always brings me. Everyone chose their seat and poured their favorite drinks for themselves. I'll take a orange deep Eddie vodka, please. No? Okay, just a latte. Being just a tea party, there was no call for a formal toast. So then, let's eat! After thanking everyone for their prep work, I took a sip of the coffee I had brewed. Although Ignis's dishes were piling up everywhere, I savored all of the meals that were prepared. Mr. Karu gives a carefree smile as he watches how I react to each dish I taste.
すっかり君も非日常に染まっちゃって、おじさんはちょっと複雑な気分だよ。
もうリンドウも諦めてさ、染まっちゃえばいいんじゃない？そうしたらほら、悩まなくて済むよ。
そういうわけにはいかないでしょう。彼女が悪の道に染まらないよう僕がちゃんと守ってあげないとさ。
How should I respond? Do I just stay quiet? The one who jumped into the argument between the two agitated men, it was unexpectedly number 2.
私たちからすれば GPM の方がよほど悪の定義に近いかと思いますが。
嘘？本当に？
なんで意外そうな顔してんだよ。襲撃時の下っ端どもの態度、悪役そのものだったじゃねえか。
詐欺まがいの行為に恐喝。果ては丸腰の少女をも巻き込み、銃を用いてまでの襲撃。誰がどう見ても間違いなく悪人の所業であったろうな。
Mr. Karu let out a surprising emotion in the form of a frustrated grunt.
GPM が悪の組織ならリンドはそこの
ミニボス
中ボスかな。
中間管理職だからあながち間違ってはないけど、なんか嫌だなその呼び方。
As that conversation continued, suddenly I meet eyes with Mr. Karu.
そうだ、せっかく異世界や人外の話が出たんだし、君たちのこと、彼女にもう少し詳しいことを教えてあげたら？
Ooh, more info. Let's start with Canis, and then Ignis, and or maybe number 2, then Ignis, then Mr. Demon King. Say the best for last.
せっかくも何も非日常がどうのこうのって話を切り出したのはてめえだろうが。
しかし今日はくしくもアンシャンテの再オープンという大事な節目。
もちろん俺は構わないよ。彼女が聞きたいことがあるなら何でも答えてあげちゃいますとも。
マスター、どうでしょうか。私たちに改めて何か質問はありますか？
Questions? Well, when you ask me like that, number 2 prompts me to ask something, but it was so sudden, no decent questions would come to me.
例えば、彼らの故郷の。
I think we kind of already got that information. Right at the very beginning. Mr. Karu threw me a lifeline. Where everyone is from? Oh, I'd like to hear about that.
人外そのものについては彼らとの交流で少し理解があると思うけど、異界そのものは全然わからないでしょ？
He was right. I can more or less assume what non-humans are like from Mr. Demon King and the others here. But beyond that gate, I still knew nothing of the worlds that were out there.
故郷。まあ話すのはいいけどよ。わかりづらくねえかそれ。
そこはほら、僕がちゃんとフォローするよ。そう、これを使ってね。
Mr. Karu pulls out a large tablet from his bag on the floor. What's that for?
僕のお仕事用端末。イグニスも言ってたけど、言葉だけじゃ分かりづらいかと思ってさ。見せられる範囲でだけど、視覚的な資料があった方が分かりやすいと思ってね。
He quickly begins to operate the tablet.
どう？まずは誰の世界が気になるかな？
You already know Kanis first. Alright, then how about... Oh, wait. No, next. Oh, wait, I forget where he's from. Is it not the Heavenly World? Oh, gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, was it the Fairy World? I think it's that one. Yeah! Got it.
メディオについてか。ならば我が語るべきであろうな。
タブレットは私が操作しましょう。カヌス
It's kind of still break it. So this world is populated by fairies and mythical and metaphysical creatures. Let's look at the dictionary. Half physical, illusionary non-humans that inhabit Medio. Despite his rough appearance, Canis is also a legitimate fairy. And it's governed by a monarchy. According to observation, it is a world teeming with nature. Its beauty ranks among the highest of all alternate worlds. It does look so beautiful and peaceful. Hopefully it's peaceful where this is. It is believed that folklore rooted in the human world, such as Nan, Sidhi, and leprechauns, derived from beings from this world. YEOW. Let's look at the dictionary. No, I want to look at the dictionary. Oh wow, to think it's such a beautiful world.
あの世界の美しさは我自らが保証しよう。
So I said after Canis was number 2.
展開についてですか。なんと表
It looks like it would be really cool up there. The world where the deitic species known as angels and fallen angels in the human world reside. Also, according to number 2, abbreviated of Enchanté, the only being on record that has been communicated with.
展開ですか。とても綺麗な世界ですよ。
But is it more beautiful than Canis' world, though? Let's have a world face-off. So the world is just very beautiful, and proceeding with further details or any conversation whatsoever was not possible. The world is assumed to have been created out of an energy that is impossible to be described in a physical sense. End report. That's it. I
リン
mean,
ド、これ会話は続行不可能ともっともらしく書いてるけどよ。
単にイルとの会話を諦めただけだろ。
仕方ないじゃない。君たち抜きでこのぽやぽや打天使様と会話するのは難易度高いんだってば。
おや、私は問われたことをそのまま答えただけなのですが。
ああ、平気平気。リンドウの聞き方が悪かっただけだから気にすることないよ、イル。
still, there isn't much information at all written here.
展開はとにかく閉鎖的でね、ほとんど調査が進んでないんだよ。
An other world in the heavens where number 2 lived, while it is a beautiful world, it is very insular, so the details are shrouded in mystery. Only thing I can take from that word is that it seems like it's very closed in. I'm gonna look it up. Here at FLair's channel, we leave no child left behind. Well, not about that program, but you know, we investigate all worlds. So insular means it's ignorant of or uninterested in cultures, ideas, or peoples outside of one's own experience. So probably like the early days of Asia. Well, I think every country pretty much started off as being uninterested of anybody else but their own culture. Moving on.
天使の存在自体、魔族と並んでレア中のレアだから、いる以外の個体も探しようがないし。
I see. So that's why when those GPM officials attacked us, they were so surprised after hearing that he was a fallen angel. Oh, by the way, I heard that two had become a fallen angel after breaking the laws of Calm. A fallen angel refers to an angel that had become tainted. He over there with his fat material, that's why fapping away. Could that be, could that reason be angels fall when they break the law refers to the individuals whose wings have changed colors? But from what I remember, I thought his wings were still white. I don't remember seeing any off-color wings. It wasn't the video games number 2. Oh, it wasn't games? Oh, what's up? What's up his story? Ah, can't wait to find out. Could it be Atome games? Number 2 tilts his head in puzzlement. Just by looking at him, we could all infer the truth. And so next I said Ignis and then Mr. Demon King for last.
ああ俺んとこなんざどうでもいいだろうが。
I do. I care, Ignis.
では私が代わりに解説しましょう。
あ、てめえ箱入り何を勝手に。
Oh, wow. I thought it would have been hot just judging off of his, energy. So it's an extremely cold land where a species thought to have evolved from animals, demon beasts reside. Although the entire landscape is covered in frost, several different species live there. The number of their type exceeds even that of the fairies of YEOW. Also, it is unknown why, but the frequency in which it connects to a wormhole is high. That said, residents of this world comprise a huge number of non-humans in the human world. Monsters whose base form are animalistic and appear in human myths and legends are believed to have come from Bestia. Right as number 2 ends the report, Ignis takes the terminal away from him and throws it back toward Mr. Karu. So that's what you mean by demon beasts. I always imagined it was more like the monsters that appear in manga or games.
ありゃどっちかってと魔族だろ。見た目も大体キモいじゃねえか。一緒にするんじゃねえよ。
ちなみにイグニスは人型をとっていますが、動物に近しい姿の魔獣もいるそうですよ。
I see. Could you do that too, Ignis?
あ？まあできなくはねえけどよ。こっちの方が楽だしな。
Dot 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 dot. Could it be that Bestia is kind of like a big zoo? And we already know about a little bit more about this world, so I'll leave it up in case you guys want to read it again.
おい、今なんかすっげえ失礼なこと考えなかったか。
Huh? No, you're just imagining things. His wild instincts are too good. So next we have, oh well, I did say Mr. Demon King for last, so we'll do the GPM next. Oh, then this is more about this world, but can I hear more about the GPM?
僕のところ構わないけど前にあらかた話しちゃった気もするな。
Oh, well, not just about the GPM, but how the GPM sees non-humans. I've only heard about how GPM officials, including you, Mr. Karu, have this idea that non-humans are just dangerous.
それはまあ事実だからね。
よし、その喧嘩買った。表出ろや、リンド。ローストリンドにしてやっか。
Rindo roast. That sounds like a nice dish to eat, though. I mean, not that I'm a cannibal. I'm a cat. Ignis, calm down. Comments like that are probably how false perceptions like this are spread. For some reason, Mr. Karu led the chat in a way that I'd ended up following through. In any case, it's easy to see more than one side of people by living with them. The demon lord who likes coffee, the demon beast who loves to eat, the straight-laced knight, the fallen angel who loves games. Seeing them all like this, it's hard to wrap my head around the concept that non-humans are fierce and evil.
まあここにいるメンツを見ているとそう思うのも無理ないと思うけどさ。
Although it's not like I'd just forgotten his warning that these men aren't human. It's just, how exactly do people from the GPM define what dangerous really means.
そういうこと。
After contemplating for a bit, Mr. Karu takes control of his tablet and shows me a particular screen.
別にこれは極秘でもなんでもないから事情知ってる君には見せちゃうけど。
The non-humans we are forced to remove and observe are usually divided into groups. Type 1, which is non-humans intelligent and capable of speech. Type 2, non-humans incapable of speech and friendly. And type 3, non-humans incapable of speech and hostile. The mission of the combat branch is to subdue and or deport type 1 non-humans that show malicious intent and type 3 non-humans. Huh? According to this, non-humans that are friendly aren't considered dangerous. That's how I understand it. If that's the case, then wouldn't everyone at Enchanté be an exception?
表向きはね。でも結局強大な力を持つ人外をそのまま野放しにはできない。
So then you should have a type 4 that are friendly humans, but you don't trust because they're too powerful.
巧妙に悪意を隠している人外もいれば自覚なく力を振るってしまう人外だっている。
Right. So type 4.
そしてそこで振るわれる力というのは大抵が人の命をたやすく奪ってしまうような凶悪なものだったりするんだ。
Everyone with the ...
何かがあってから誰かが傷ついてから誰かが死んでから人間はあまりにも脆すぎる。そうなってからじゃ遅すぎでしょ。
Not all humans are fragile. That's also a frame of thought. You're only as strong as you think you are. ...
だからさ、あいつはいいやつだなんて理由じゃ野放しにはできないのさ。誰しも感情的にはきっといい方向に考えたいんだろうけどね。
I get it. I was able to understand something new by listening to you today. Thank you, Mr. Karu. It seems like the relationship between humans and non-humans ran deeper than I thought. And last but not least, Mr. Demon King.
お、それじゃあそこを牛耳る魔王様自らが解説してあげようじゃない。
Demon World Asmodia. Losing its sun, the world is pitch black, and its land illuminated by a dark moon. Its atmosphere is filled with miasma, with swamps of terrible poisons welling about. The non-humans that live there are called demons, who are creatures of impulse and fight in endless bloody wars. The leader of such a dangerous species is the strongest of them all, Demon Lord Mr. Demon King Alex. Additionally, humans live in this world too. Not many, but every few centuries a hero is born of them. Wow. The heroes vow to rid the world's miasma and subdue the one responsible, the Demon Lord. Wow.
でもさ、実
You're
は
evil,
スノディア
Mr.
の
Demon
正気っ
King.
て魔王とか関係ないんだよね。
Oh, he's telling his side of the story. There's always two perspectives to each story. So, well, let's listen to his side.
あれ、もともとの世界環境だし、万が一俺を倒せたとしてもどうにもならないんだけど、勇者一族はその辺知らないっぽいんだよね。どうするんだろうね。俺が
So I guess he's giving them something to fight for. So that's the end of this report on Asmodia. However, this didn't come from observations of Asmodia. It was simply a report straight from the demon lord, Mr. Demon King. This report was based on hearsay from him, and as such, we weren't able to verify whether or not his words were true. Exactly. Because you could just be trying to save your own life too, saying, oh, if they kill me, nothing happens, but something may happen, and the miasma may disappear. At the very least, I understood that the demon world is a very harsh world to live in. Just then. It's a real-life fantasy RPG world setting.
勇者一族とかいうやつら、そいつらが不憫でならねえな。
そう勇者ってだけで無条件でチヤホヤされるんだし、意外とバッドエンドがお似合いかもよ。
Time for my cat stretch. Ah! There we go.
あとレポートにもあったと
Nothing
思
like
う
a
け
cat
ど、
stretch at
これ
noon.
全部ミシェルからの話だからね。どこまでが本当なのか怪しいもんさ。
あれ信用ないな。善意で聞き取り調査に協力してあげたっていうのに。
According to Mr. Karu, demons were a very rare species. So, demons are different from devils because devils are simply a race of demons, and Mr. Demon King is not one of them. And they're very rare non-humans and hardly ever found. Interesting. I always thought that they were interchangeable. The only one who had actually appeared and was cooperative and ever being studied was Mr. Demon King here. Huh? Sorry, I was a little curious about this, but what's a wormhole? It was mentioned when we were talking about Bestia. Isn't that the gate? I'm sure that's what they refer to as a wormhole.
まあそれか。
Ah, oh,
うん
Mr.
なん
Karu
て
speaking.
説明したらいいかな。言葉通りといえば言葉通りなんだけど。
空間に開いた穴でしょうか。性質としてはゲートと同じものだと考えてよいかと。ただしずっとそこにあり続けるゲートとは違い、偶発的に発生消滅します。
When you suggest to think of them as gates, you mean they are portals to other worlds?
各世界で確認される現象だよ。突如発生し異世界同士をつなぐブラックホールとか落とし穴に似てるね。
実はこっちに来てる人外の最たる理由がそのホールなんだよね。
Huh? It sounds like you're saying they get caught and then by accident.
本人たちにとってみればすごい不運だと思うよ。気がつけば異世界だからね。
True, if you're just thrown into a world where the culture and species are different, those wormholes are pretty scary, huh? Is this what you were referring to, Mr. Demon King, when you said there are other ways of coming to and from here besides gates?
そうそう、このホールのことだね。ただし前にも言ったけど行き来が表現的に正しいかな。
What?
ホールは開いたとしてもすぐ閉じるから。長ければ数日持つけど短ければ一瞬。恒常的な移動手段には使えない。それとこれも理屈はわからないけど、仮に同じ世界同じ場所でホールが発生したとしても、A の世界でホールに落ちて B の世界へ、そして運よく B の世界でホールを見つけても、そのホールは C の世界につながってるとかね。
being such a mysterious phenomenon, if you did happen to fall into a wormhole, with extremely good luck, you might be able to travel world to world and come back to your own. That, all I can say is that it sounds terrible.
ホールの出先ばかりは己が運次第。好きでそこに居つく者もいれば帰る術を失い嘆く者もいる。
本当に稀だけどよ、人間界でもホールが開く時はあるからな。ボケっとして落ちないよう気をつけろよ。
I know, that was just like chance. If I seen a wormhole in real life, I don't know. I'll be just like a cat and be curious. It says those sucked in almost never return, so okay. Yikes. Dot dot dot. Is that something you can avoid by being careful?
それにしても飲み込みが早くて驚きだよ。メディオの説明に出てたリアナシーやレプラコーンとか質問されるかなと思ってたんだけど。
Oh, well, for those, there were books that Grandpa had left behind. I saw those and tried studying on my own.
そうなの。
なんとそれは興味深いな。
Yeah, I found a few old books while remodeling Grandpa's room. They were about legends and fantasies, and I figured they might be related to all of you somehow and read them while I had time. They were for beginners, so it was easy to understand, and the illustrations were fun.
へえ、そう裏でそんな本読んでたんだ。興味ないとか言ってたくせに。
ガサツな人ではあったけど、あの人はあの人なりに君らへの向き合い方を考えてたんだろうね。
Mr. Demon King smiles gleefully while Mr. Karu smiles solemnly, both of them running through their own memories of Grandpa. Oh wow! They're still learning things about Grandpa even after he's passed away. I'll take really good care of his books. Dot dot dot. Immediately after making my declaration, my phone started ringing. This better not be my old job. After excusing myself, I looked and saw my face froze at the name displayed.
誰からの電話だ？
Oh my gosh, I just said I really hope this wasn't my old job. Girl, if you don't block them, like myself, block them. Block with a capital B.
それって君を散々酷使したっていう例の？
Yeah, actually, since I resigned, they call regularly, almost every day. Actually, almost every day.
はあ？
望まぬ相手からの連絡。それは非常に鬱陶しいでしょうね。
それもはやストーカーの域だね。
Right, Mr. Karu, get on him. But I'm sure you have a block button though. This is just like you want them to call at this point. Dot dot dot. My heart was racing at this terrible noise. This ringtone was basically screaming at me. I could ignore it just like I had been this whole time until now, yet... Sorry, I'm gonna take this, okay? I need to do something about this already. I can't continue to be afraid of this shadow now that Enchanté's open officially. With everyone watching, my trembling finger taps the icon. Or taps the screen. Hello? This is Iwaki. I mean, didn't you quit? Or did you just not show up? Because it seems like you didn't show up. I didn't respond for a moment, taken aback by the lack of a greeting and the attitude? What are you talking about? I've already resigned, you know. I've written my resignation letter. I quit for personal
ふざけてんのか。
Ah,
あのな、俺も鬼じゃねえ。別に仕事辞めるなとは言わねえよ。
so
だがな、
then,
うちだって新人のお前を雇って育てるのに時間も金もかけてたわけだ。
oh my gosh. I mean, you're always wasting time and resources training a new person. That's just what it is. But I also know that it is a different culture, so that's just ridiculous that I have to keep going through this.
仕事を辞めるってのはな、それを全部無駄にするって話だ。そこんとこ分かってんのか。
Ever since the day I started, my vision would go blurry every time I'd hear that screaming. There were always so many days I could argue back too, yet for some reason those words would never find their way out of my throat. Tell me about it! Tell me about it! Every day. I'm going through it right now. No, really I'm going through it right now.
それでも辞めるっつうなら、きっちり引き継ぎを果たして辞める。社会人として当たり前のことだろ。
So why didn't you tell me this when I resigned? Like, hey, you can resign, but can you like train someone else and then give me some extra bonus pay for training someone else? Because you should have a trainer that does that. But okay. I'm trying to tell you, I already gave out everything needed for anyone to take over my load of work.
そんなことで解決するわけねえだろ。次の新人を育てるまで残るのが普通だろうが。
I mean, hang up and block, girl. Hang up and block! This is too much. If I actually did that, they would definitely squeeze at least another year out of me. I'm terrified. More than anything else, I'm scared of that voice that always tore down my self-worth. ... Still. Right, that's what I'm talking about. Stand up for myself. It's not my problem. Need to add a bit in there too. I've always told you that it will come to a screeching halt if you continue running a business like that. That you need to fix things. But even then, you wouldn't listen to me. You're the one who never gave me someone to help. You're the one who never gave me someone to help me out. Right. Who trained me? Who looked out for me? Yep. Yeah. Holding my trembling heart, I take a deep breath and decide to say what I felt. I've found a place I want to protect far more than that company of yours.
生意気に転職したってのか。うぬぼれんなよ、お前みたいな高卒。甘やかされるのは最初だけ。
You're wrong. And I didn't choose this place because I wanted to be treated nicely. Yes, I did have some intentions deep down for that to happen. But it's different now. The people here, they want to see me grow. They don't rush me and care for me as I take each new step. They're strong. They never fake anything. They show me everything, not hiding even their smallest faults. Of course, there were still so many things I didn't know about them, but this I can clearly say. I'm happy. Being with everyone here, to worry with them, to struggle with them. I don't really care what's going on over there now. Just know I'm not coming back. This place, this is what's important to me now. As I finished, I realized my shaking had stopped. I don't think the old me would have ever said that I was happy to struggle. I guess that was just how much living at Enchanté has slowly healed my soul. Even the boss couldn't say anything. ... on your ass. my old boss stayed quiet after my speech. And you and I are both aware that it's been months since I've quit, right? Why? Through all this time have you been? In that moment, I realized something. The reason why they would call a high school graduate who quit, who wasn't particularly amazing, so very incessantly? Can it be that your business isn't able to run without me? Ah, I figured it out. You need me. You need no need a walkie. Nope, you need me. You need me. You can't face me because you need me. The labor bureau. With a mutter, those words trembled out of me on reflex. As if realizing its ominous implications, the tirade of my former boss stopped cold. I've kept my own attendance record aside from what's in the company system. If you intend to cause any more trouble to me or my cafe in the future, I will send those documents to someone who would be very interested in seeing them. I have to go now. I pray we never cross paths again. ... I hung up. Everyone was staring at me hard, enough to burn holes through me. I put away my phone, and after inhaling my lungs with oxygen as full as possible, I finally told them off! My body, which was ready to collapse, somehow grabbed onto the table reflexively. Seeing that, the first thing I heard was the Demon Lord's applause, followed by his compliment.
いや、ほんとなかなかの手腕だよ。
Making me blush.
口車でうまくやり込めた上に、最後にはさりげなく相手を絶望に突き落としていく。とてもいいね。さすがは我が魔王軍期待の
I'm part of his demon army.
これぐらいはしたたかだ。
General Awaki. Mr. Demon Lord, sir, I have no recollection of ever enlisting. Along with Mr. Demon King snickering, the smiling faces from everyone else in the room helped me ease my tension.
僕も驚いたな。ちなみにさっき言ってた引退記録云々の話って？
I was probably bluffing. Oh, right. Oh, I kind of just made that up. Back then, there was no way I had any time to take anything like that.
出任せ上等じゃねえか。それで付きまとわれなくなるなら安いもんだろ。
それに素直に喜ばしかったな。この場所を誇るように大切な居場所だと。
ええ、やはりマスターはアンシャンテを守ってくれる素晴らしい人です。
Oh, I finally realized what it was that I said in the heat of the moment. There were no lies, and I have no regret for saying what I did. But it's starting to feel so embarrassing. A little time had passed after the recent incident. In an effort to cool me down after all the excitement, I drank some iced coffee. So, considering today marked the new beginning for Enchanté, I'm glad I was able to finally say goodbye to that place.
それは言えてるかもね。君にとっては異世界より何より元々が怖い。
No, my current job is scarier than any world. I need, you know what? Let me just go hop in this wormhole now. Yeah, compared to my last boss, alternate worlds and non-humans, none of that stuff holds a candle to how scary that was.
現地を見ずしてその判断はさすがに早計だと思うが。
知識にないからこそなのでしょう。その本質を知らなければどう恐怖すればいいのかも理解できませんし。
So, I said that because I don't know, Sure, that may be true.
それじゃ行ってみたらいいんじゃない？
Ooh, yay, take me. Huh?
また適当なこと言いやがって。面倒なことになるのが目に見えてるじゃねえか。
先ほど林道から提供された情報をまとめるに、我々の故郷の中で比較的
It seems like it would more likely be Canis' world that would be safe. Let's see which one it is. Following the smiling Mr. Demon King, the one Ignis and number 2 turned their eyes toward was... Canis!
妖精界のメディオか。
The instant that world's name came up, Mr. Karu leaned forward, flustered.
君たち行くって、それもしかしなくても。
He can't wait to see too.
そりゃもちろん異世界ですとも。せっかく徒歩0分の高立地なんだし。
A 0-minute
活用しな
commute,
きゃ
so
損じゃ
just
ない。
instantly.
それにほら、百聞は一見にしかずって言うし。レッツゴー異世界へ。
Yay! Another world! What? What? To my grandpa in heaven, your grandchild has just officially taken over Enchanté, and now she's about to literally step foot into an unknown world. Alright, chapter 4. What? That was an extremely short chapter though. Alright, so we're gonna stop for right now. You guys already know. Before it even gets to that one, back to
青ざめた
this.
死は
Alrighty. I just want to thank you all for tuning in to Cafe Enchanté FLair style. Let's see. As you all already know, I'm still working on my Streets of Rage 2. I admit I am practicing on that. I blew through the first Streets of Rage, so maybe that was a bit of a confidence boost for me, I guess. I don't know. I just forgot how difficult Streets of Rage 2 could honestly be. So I'm practicing, of course, with my main man Skates, trying to get through that so we can get through Streets of Rage 3. And then we'll complete the whole, well, not trilogy, but the whole set of games until Mr. X's Nightmare. Next month, Resident Evil Village comes out. Forget you PlayStation 5 holders. I'm so mad you guys got to play both of the demos. I know the demo's releasing for all consoles aside from PlayStation 5 shortly. I think it may be this weekend. So yeah, I still need to beat Resident Evil 7. To be honest, I'm right at the last place. I'm in a sunken ship and I'm trying to find a fuse somewhere. So that's where I'm at. I'm actually thinking about actually streaming that on Twitch. So follow me on there. It's my same name, Flaro. So look out for that. I'll be off later on this week, so it may be early Wednesday morning. So I'll try to do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I'm probably going to need all those games to try and get through Resident Evil 7. And backseating is allowed, even though, I probably won't need it too much, but I'll just like your input anyway. So please come in and watch the stream. It'll be this Wednesday morning, early morning, about 5 to 6 a.m. and it'll probably be for a couple to a few hours each day. So again, thank you so much for even tuning in, y'all. And as always, much love, much peace, and catch you on the flip side.